Investing in short-term rentals isn't for everybody. You might be surprised to hear me say that, but it's both an issue to be considered and an opportunity. So if you buy a short-term rental as an investment, you have to remember you are now in the hospitality business, and there needs to be something within you that finds joy in providing that great place for people to stay. But at the same time, you'll make a good return on your money. It's a great investment, it's an appreciating asset, and I think it's a great opportunity for many investors. But because it's not for everybody, that means there are existing Airbnbs that are in the market for sale. I'm going to share one of those opportunities with you today. It's 42893 Scenic Drive in Oakhurst. It's on the north end of town, closer to Yosemite, in a great location, and it's turnkey. It's a very high-performing Airbnb. It's a beautiful location by the creek. There's even an extra lot included in the purchase that you could develop in the future. So it is a great opportunity. I'm going to walk you through the numbers. The other thing that we're going to notice as we look at the numbers is we are going to see that AirDNA is not flawless, because AirDNA projects this property at a certain number and has identified the specific listing. But because their methodology to scrape data off of Airbnb and VRBO is not 100% accurate, we see that the numbers that the owner is actually reporting and that they've generated over the last several years aren't precisely what AirDNA says they are. But that's still okay. It's still a good investment. So I'll walk you through some of that analysis as well as a tour of the property. And we can take a look at this opportunity on Scenic Drive and see if it's your next great STR investment near Yosemite. 2893 Scenic Drive. You can see the listing here. It's actually modern and cool, very near the creek. You can hear the creek from the house. There's also a second lot that's included in the purchase that's down on the creek. I'm just going to page through this a little bit. Nice, bright interior, upgraded kitchen, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. I think that this does have the potential to separate the primary suite as a separate unit for off-season when occupancy for larger homes is down, but it would be just a little bit awkward. You'd have to put in a door and they would be walking in front of the house. All the guests would be walking in front of the house to get to the front door. So it is possible. I'm going to show you what that looks like. But this is currently on Airbnb, which I'll show you. It has a hot tub, it has a game room. So it's set up and ready to go, and at $675 is not a bad purchase. I think it's a very good investment. So let's jump over to AirDNA, because what I want to show you here is AirDNA expects a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house at this address to do a little over $75,000 a year. So that's $357 a night at 58% occupancy. Not particularly strong for a $675,000 home. But what's interesting about this is it's actually pulling from a very broad comp set. So going to look at the actual rentalizer report here, and you can see there's this list of comps. We're down in the $40,000 range that it's comparing to, and 31 additional listings. But what's interesting is the number one listing on the comp set is actually this home. AirDNA thinks it did $129,000 with the calendar open to do $132,000. That gets a lot more interesting at a $675,000 list price. That's one thing I want to point out. Now I'm going to jump over here, and what you can see is here's the home. So even though AirDNA thinks that there's this whole long list of homes, and if we analyze the comps and produce a forecast, we come up with $75,000. This is actually $121,000, so Again, the actual reported revenue from the seller is about 120,000 in 2022 and roughly 100,000 each in 23 and 24. So I guess the point of this is that there are factors certainly to consider when you're looking at AirDNA data. It's a good guideline, but it is not 100% accurate. So that's something to take into consideration. We're going to jump over here and actually look at the listing so you can see they can actually accommodate 8 guests in their 3 bedrooms. They've got 156 reviews, 4.78 stars, which is pretty good. 4.8 is actually the average that you have to maintain your superhost status. I don't know the exact motivation of the sellers, but the point I made in the introduction is that because not every host is completely in love with hosting long term, and it's not passive income, you're in the hospitality business. A lot of these homes are now on the market and they are turnkey. So this one comes fully furnished. Everything is included in the purchase. Has a hot tub, which is the number one amenity that we recommend to boost revenue. And that by itself may be a big part of the reason why AirDNA thinks 75.5, and it really did 120 down to $100,000 a year. So this number is not filtered for a hot tub as an amenity. And we can actually bump this up to 8 guests just to see if that makes a difference. And it doesn't. The point of this is just to drill down on the numbers a bit, look at the specific comps, and in this case, if you have a functioning Airbnb, you can use actual numbers instead of forecasts. But because we talked about the potential for splitting off the primary suite, let us take a look at that. So if we say we've got now a studio with 1 bath and only 2 guests, what would that do in terms of annual revenue? So you can see that the occupancy jumps up. So we're down in daily rate, but with a jump in occupancy, we're $46,000 a year, just the primary bedroom. And the reason that's important is some of that 65% occupancy are times when the whole house would not be rented. So you can work with your booking windows and seasonality and time of the year, and you can optimize to get additional revenue. And in this case, while it's not ideal, you could, in fact, still rent a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, let's call it 6 guests, that could be rented simultaneously. And if we look at the other portion of the house, that's $69,000. So now we're over $100,000 a year, 110, 115, and that's utilizing the floor plan to actually rent 2 separate units that could be either rented individually or all together, and you can see the occupancy on that is high. So I think we saw 58% occupancy for a 3-2. We see 66% occupancy for a 2-1 or a studio. That will give you an idea of what can be done to outperform the existing listings that the current owner has done pretty well with. And I think that at that point, we can certainly justify and support return on investment at the $675,000 list price. So again, just wanted to take a little bit deeper dive into this listing. I really like it. The home is beautiful. Again, striking architecture, tall ceilings, wood beams, great location. And now we are going to actually take a look at the home. I'm going to walk around the home and kind of point some things out, and you can see how it flows. And I think this is definitely a property to consider for your short-term rental investment here in the Yosemite area. Lenny Sharp here, Sharp Mountain Homes team of eXp Realty. We're going to preview this home on Scenic Drive in Oakhurst. Beautiful home by the creek. Okay, we're here at Scenic Drive and we're going to take a look at this property, which is already currently on Airbnb. Numbers look good, location's great, and this is turnkey. So it's being sold with everything you're going to see today. We are right here by the creek. You can hear it rushing. Got some great views off this front deck and just nestled in the trees. So let's go ahead and take a look inside the house. So you enter into the living area. It's got that nice stone fireplace and a pretty large living room with the wood beams and the high ceiling. So very inviting as the guests enter. Got the dining area around here. That deck we were on does wrap around and you can see some outdoor furniture and a hot tub. We've got a kitchen that's open to the dining with a nice granite counter, black appliances that all look to be in good shape. Through here we've got actually the fridge and then the laundry area and then this bathroom on this level with a separate vanity that is accessible from this bedroom. So this is the main level of the house, and you can see if we kind of reverse that this bedroom is right off the entryway. So now we're going to take a look at the other two bedrooms and bathroom up this spiral staircase, which again I think adds a little visual interest and will look good on listing photos. Now they've installed a mesh for safety, not super attractive, but certainly guest liability is something you've got to pay attention to. And these bars are not 4 inches across, which would be current codes. If you step over here at the top of the stairs, we've got our first bedroom, nice size, room for a seating area, and nice tall ceilings with picture windows and a view. And then opposite, we've got this other bedroom, a bit smaller, but still very well appointed. And again, you can lay in bed and see that view. There's one more bathroom here. Looks like the cleaners haven't been here yet. This is a turnover day, so they've got a full bath to service those two bedrooms. So yeah, all in all, pretty nice spot. And again, the nice thing about it is you don't have to guess what your revenue is going to be. They've done, I think, a little over $120,000 in 22, about $100,000 a year in 23 and 24. But I would say based on looking at the listing and the reviews, there's definitely some room for upside through revenue optimization and maybe just sprucing things up a bit, although it is primarily turnkey. Okay, I did want to grab a little footage of the deck and yard. You can see here's the back of the house. Extends up this hill for privacy. Barbecue area, hot tub. Deck could definitely use refinishing. Large outdoor sitting area. And then, as I said, this just wraps back around to the front. Yeah, super nice spot. And they did mention there's another lot included with the purchase that's down by the creek. Got to take a look at that and see exactly where it's located. Immediately across the road are other houses, so it might not be right adjacent to the house It's a dramatic look with the dark paint and the high vaulted roof. So I think this is definitely a good option.